Hello, I'm Nicholas Nguyen, the team lead for the Late Night Devs. Our computer science capstone project for fall-winter 2023-2024 is the STEM Curriculum Navigator. The Navigator is a full-stack web application designed to allow current and future students at Portland State University the ability to search for programs and opportunities in their field of study, all within one website.
Hello, my name is Linh. I would like to talk about project overview. The STEM Curriculum Navigator project focuses on programs and opportunities that serve to bridge the gap between student and STEM opportunity. Our main goal is on empowering students to explore, engage with, and excel in STEM fields. We believe that by providing to access to program and opportunity, we can inspire the next generation of STEM. The website prioritize accessibility and user friendly. We want to ensure that students can navigate it easily. We also create an admin page that makes it easy for administrators to manage programs and tasks. The target audience, the website is for college students, and particularly focusing on underrepresented groups in STEM fields. We want to ensure that everyone has equal access to STEM opportunity. Top three features of project. The first is program search and favorite programs. Students can search for a program based on their interest, and they also can save favorite program for future reference. The second is admin dashboard. Administrator can access that the dashboard that allow them to manage program and tasks. The third is timeline. The website has timeline feature that helps students keep track of application deadline and important day for STEM opportunity and programs.
My name is Tran, and I'll be going over the core purpose of this project as well as some of the main features that will be implemented to achieve this. And the main purpose of this project is to develop a full stack web application that students at Portland State can use to easily find academic resources that the school offers. And we achieve this through our Programs tab. On the right side here, we listed many academic programs, specifically STEM programs, that are offered at Portland State. For example, if a student is interested in the Access program, they can click the Show More button to find more details to it, and also go to the program's website to research it more. These programs are listed on the right side of the page and are separated based on pages. Students can use the search bar right here to also search for a program if they remember the name. On the left here is our filter by tag feature. We have many tags that are separated based on categories, and students are able to select these tags to narrow down the programs on the right. For example, if a student is only interested in the engineering program focuses, they can select this tag to narrow it down, and that narrows down the searches to just 2 programs. If they want to narrow down their search more, they can select more tags. For example, if I select Career Development, it'll narrow down the programs to just EWX. Similar to the programs, there's also a search bar to filter the tags by their name. And there's also a drop-down menu that students can use to filter based on the categories. Another feature we implemented is the Favorites button. And to use this button, students need to log into an account. Once logged in, students are able to favorite programs. For example, I already have EWX here favorited from my last section. If I want to favorite another one, I can click these stars and also deselect them to unfavorite the program. And favorited programs also show up at the very bottom of the page for students to easily access and see the programs that they have favorited.
Hello, my name is Wes, and I'm here to talk about the Admin Tools page. This is a place for administrators to be able to effectively manage the data on the database that gets presented to users. So we store information about programs, and we also store information about tags which describe attributes of programs. To read data from the program, you would just simply select one at a time, and it would allow you to see all the associated information on this form submission here. If you want to update information, perhaps you got this person's last name incorrect, or maybe you added the wrong tag, you could simply submit the form with the updated information, and the information will be updated in our database, as well as when it is being presented to the user. So now I'm going to add a program really quick just to show you how that works. You can optionally decide on a duration for your program. Here's where you'll choose the tags which describe the program. You can search for tags easily just by using the search bar right here. So once I press the submit button, the backend handles it and the program's generated. We can see the program shows up here. We can also see the program shows up here. And you can remove the program just as easily by just selecting it and then pressing remove. So that's most of the major functionality of the admin page. Here's Dan to talk to you about the timeline.
So one of our main stretch goals for this project was our timeline feature. Students that are interested in multiple programs might want to plan out in more detail how they can participate in all of them, and this tool will help them do so. As you can see, it relies on students having selected some favorited programs, and for that, they will need to be logged in. Once they've done so and selected some favorite programs, they gain access to these program cards that they can then drag and drop however they wish onto these timelines. Each column represents one academic term, while each row represents one academic year. And students can have multiple programs within each timeline and in each column as well. Students can also move a program back up to the top bar here to remove them from the timeline and clear space. If a student decides that they're no longer interested in a program at all, they can also remove the program from their favorites by clicking on the star here. If a student decides that they might want to take a gap year or take longer than 4 years, they can add new years, which will then appear at the bottom or in the respective position, or delete years, even in the middle. New years will be added from oldest to newest in chronological order.
Auth0 was a useful tool for us in allowing simplification of the login process while ensuring we maintain the security. We included the hamburger bar as an upgrade to our navigation system. This is a cleaner approach and it leaves more space for content. We improved the accessibility of visually impaired persons by adding rotor landmarks, which allows them to jump from content to content easily. In the future, we would love it if our program could be hosted on the internet. Right now, we just have a standalone application, but if a third-party website was able to host it, or if we could integrate into Portland State University's website hub, we believe that we could reach a much larger audience and benefit more people. Allowing users to export their timeline or their favorite programs could be beneficial for when they don't have internet access.
Now I'll go over the project architecture. Our project is a full-stack web application, meaning it has a front-end, back-end, and database. The front-end is what users interact with. The database stores program and tag information, and the back-end is used to communicate between these two. For the front-end, we used React, Bootstrap, the usual stuff, and Axios. React is a library for web user interfaces. Bootstrap is a framework for building responsive sites. Axios is a promise-based HTTP client for browsers and Node.js. We used it to communicate between the front end and the back end. For the back end, we use Node.js and Express. Node.js is a JavaScript runtime environment. Express is a web framework for Node.js. We used it to communicate between the backend and the database. For the database, we used MySQL, a commonly used CRUD database management system. During development, we hosted the database locally using Docker. This way, people didn't have to install and set up MySQL on their personal computer. So, how does communication flow between these parts when the program is running? It starts with the user clicking or typing something in a web page of the program in a browser. This triggers some kind of event handler in the front end, mostly a use effect from React, which in turn sends an Axios request to the backend. The backend then sends an express request to the database. The database returns some JSON. The backend converts this JSON to some JavaScript object, which for us is mostly some combination of arrays. The backend then sends the JavaScript object to the frontend, where the frontend uses the object to update the information displayed on the web page.
Hello, my name is Arno, and I would like to share with you the development process of our team. So our project utilizes the power of structure, blending, agile methodologies, and effective collaboration. Let's delve into the two main sections. The first one, development process overview, and the second one, agile process and team collaboration. So for the development process overview, our journey began with meticulous team formation under the guidance of Nicholas, our team leader. After careful consideration of skill and expertise, we create a team dedicated to the front end, back end, and database. So for the front end, we have Nicholas, Linh, and Dan. For the back end, we have Daniel and I. And for the database, we have Wes and Matej. Following this, we embark on comprehensive planning phase spanning several weeks. During this time, we engage with our sponsor to set clear goal and define our project scope. Subsequently, we allocated focused interval to critical tasks such as design, tool setup, and code establishment. These foundational steps lay the groundwork for subsequent implementation phase where the features were developed and meticulously tested over several sprints. The next section is the agile process and team collaboration. Central to our success was the adoption of agile methodologies. Through bi-weekly sprints, we maintain a dynamic and responsive approach to development, enabling us to adapt to changing requirements and optimize productivities. In addition to sprints, regular stand-up meetings serve as an important key for team collaboration. These meetings happen on opposite weeks, providing opportunity for progress updates, issue resolution, and alignment on project priorities. Where our team prioritize effective communication and knowledge sharing to ensure everyone understood the code-based project's progress. We utilize various tools and platforms to facilitate this communication. For example, we use a Discord as primary communication, allowing team members to ask questions. Furthermore, we create a pull request on GitHub where team members could review each other team changes. This not only ensures the code quality but also promote collaboration and knowledge transfer among team members. Additionally, we utilize Jira as a project management tool to keep track of our progress, assign tasks, and monitor deadlines. This helps us to stay organized and focus on our goal throughout the development process. So, our team's success was fueled by good teamwork and clear communication, supported by the agile approach. Using tools like Discord, GitHub PRs, and Jira, we stayed organized and worked together effectively, showcasing the importance of planning and adapting as a team. Thank you.
What started as a team responsibility split of 2 by 2 by 2 for each section of the project, the front end, back end, and database, ended up changing drastically due to the imbalance of work in each of the sections. The responsibility delegation ended up turning into each engineer being responsible for specific services and or tools rather than the original section split. These next couple of slides highlight some of the core responsibilities and contributions each team member had in making this project a success. And rather than reading off each line, please feel free to pause the video to read at your leisure.
And now, a word with our sponsor. All video and audio depicting Dr. Zhang was edited by us to reflect her words in an email to the late night devs. We in no way claim that the video or voiceover is actually Dr. Zhang. It is a third-party person acting out her audio and video.
Nicholas, I sincerely apologize. My schedule is not making it possible for me to make a video for the presentation, so please don't wait for my part. Please feel free to pass this along. I'm deeply grateful for the work that you and the team put into the project. I'm very pleased with the final product and will be discussing with the Student Success Office at PSU on implementing this on central PSU websites for next academic year. I know the team not only took time to create the product, but was also diligent in understanding my needs and what I hope the product would accomplish. Thank you again.
And now, back to our presentation, starting with lessons.
Hi, I would like to share 2 key lessons I have learned from our projects. The first one, SQL proficiency. I improved my SQL skills in my backend development a lot, ensuring proper execution of SQL commands. The second part is React mastery. I deepened my understanding of React hooks like use state and use effect, mastering efficient side effects for smoother user interactions. I already applied it to our favorite program sections, and it's worked pretty good right now.
So for me, this project has been incredibly informative, both about modern web development and about the process of self-teaching. I went into this knowing very little about modern web development, but I learned a lot about React and Bootstrap and various modern web development tools and resources, and I feel very confident in the knowledge that I've gained thanks to having applied it for several months. However, I also realized how much time and effort it takes to self-teach these complex and powerful tools and frameworks, and it gave me a greater appreciation for the structure that can be found in classrooms where information is ordered in a very specific way where things build directly on top of each other and very few foundational gaps are allowed. This contrasts with self-teaching where I'm not even conscious of what I don't know until it is almost too late, where I've already sunk several hours into fixing a bug, where that little nugget of foundational knowledge would have helped earlier, but I didn't even know that I needed that until right then and there.
The most valuable lesson that I gained from this project was just gaining the experience on implementing CRUD operations for the first time in a full stack web application. Another lesson that I learned would be to use unit testing for a project of this scope. If I were to do this project again, I would make sure to incorporate unit testing to simplify the code reviews and to make sure that no defects go undetected for a long period of time.
Hi, I would like to talk about my lesson which I learned from Capstone project. I believe that this is a wonderful opportunity for me to collaborate with a team on a full stack project, including database management, front-end development, and back-end implementation. I also had opportunity to explore diverse code base. There are many elements of the project allow me to look into and comprehend various components of code that were created by team members.
I'd say the biggest lesson that I learned was to use unit tests for a project of this size. Having to manually test things every time you made changes to the code was annoying and felt like wasted time. This also affected code reviews. Instead of just focusing on the code to review, we need to manually test new and existing features each pull request to make sure the program was still working as intended on our individual machines.
Having Capstone is an interesting experience. due to many projects in the curriculum typically lasting only a couple of weeks. For a long-term project like this, which went on for roughly 6 months, I was able to get huge insights on how a group of random students could gather together and transform into a cohesive, organized team that could produce a project like the STEM Curriculum Navigator. 2 lessons that I'm going to take away from this capstone. First lesson is that despite going through the same core classes and taking this capstone together, there are so many different ways of thinking, and everyone's learning experience was not the same. This is evident in how many parts of the project was coded, where blocks or even pages of code was written in a way that I wouldn't have even considered. Yet the end result that was produced looked exactly as what I would have aimed for if I had coded it myself. Different doesn't mean wrong or even bad. The second lesson, and probably the most important one as a team lead, is that it takes constant communication with your team members to really get the best out of them and to understand their methodologies and train of thought. Alongside that, using the same template of communication for each person won't necessarily get the same results. So I believe that being adaptive and attentive to my team was a part of what drove our team's success.
So this was my first time working on a full stack application, and it was definitely a challenge learning how the front end is going to interact with the back end and how the back end is going to interact with the database, and overall how the information is going to flow through the program. I am a beginner React developer, but I was able to learn a lot about the UI and the state of the components. I also learned that you can nest components together into a hierarchy, which allows you to organize them.
As this is the end of our presentation for the STEM Curriculum Navigator, the Late Night Devs would like to thank Dr. Tong Zhang for being our sponsor for this project, as without her and her initial ideas and website example, this project would not have been developed in the way that it was. We would also like to thank you for watching this presentation, as for without you, we would have spent hours of recording and re-recording for nothing. So thank you.